Hi, I'm Dave Hemsley. I'm the Deputy Head Teacher at the University of Liverpool Maths School, and this video is all about the trip to Geneva we went on in September 2022.
Well, obviously getting off early is maybe not everyone's favourite bit of the trip, but it was quite nice to have the airport experience with friends, because I think most people who've been in an airport have only done that with their families, so it's quite nice to be able to go around the airport and get things to eat and make sure everyone gets on the plane, and yeah, I think it was good, bonding experience.
So when we try to organize the trip, we always try to make it as cheap as possible, but where some people would not be able to afford it. And we discuss how could we make more people go there. But actually in this school, we were able to take absolutely everybody into the trip. And it was a really nice experience because for some people, it was the first time they ever went into a plane. It was the first time they ever met a real scientist. It was the first time they saw themselves able to walk around a city that is actually one of the richest in Europe. And I think that makes a big change in your life.
I quite like this really nice, there's this really nice meandering river in a valley that we saw out the window, and it was just really cool, and we all really enjoyed it.
When we left the hostel to go to the lake, it was so pretty. There was like very far away, we could see the jet d'eau, which was like a very big jet of water coming out of the water, which was very cool. And it was just nice to walk along and have a bunch of fun.
It's just amazing being in Geneva and obviously going to Lake Leman, Lake Geneva, and just enjoying the view. It's just so much fun.
We went to a supermarket at the train station once we arrived in from the airport, and we got some things for a picnic, so it was like a communal almost lunch experience, which was very nice.
Bienvenue à Genève.
The Museum of Science is really good because it gives students a really good chance to see some really old instruments, and the beauty and precision of these devices is excellent, and obviously set the way for some amazing things they now do at CERN.
The History of Science Museum was very cool. We got to see a lot of things about the history of science, and a lot of it was in French, which was kind of hard to understand. But there were some nice videos and some cool instruments that we could see and interact with, which we all enjoyed.
That's when I said it first, like a catapult. I'm missing myself now. Excellent.
That's 6 foot, so that's 72 inches, and then that's 5 inches, so that's 6'5".
I don't see it, but I think, oh my god, I'm going to pass out.
Okay, the thing I liked about the jet d'eau was how beautiful it looked, because it made a rainbow and it was very beautiful to look at, and sometimes you could get wet, which was a bit of a pain.
Geneva built a hydraulic plant at the La Couleuvre-Nière in 1866 to basically harness the power of all the Rhone's water going into the lake. And it was operational for a really long time, but in the evening, basically when workers stopped the machines, the excess pressure meant that they had to rush to stop the pumps. They didn't know when that would be, so they created an outlet to jet the water out safely using a safety valve. So there was always this jet of water, and the people of Geneva loved this jet. So in around about 1891, they decided to make it a tourist attraction, and they moved it, and now it goes up 90 meters, and obviously it's that brilliant thing we all saw today.
Turbulence against it. The way that's going down.
think they do. It's just amazing being out on the lake. It's part of the lifestyle of Geneva, and you can get a taxi across the water on your way to work. And the jet d'eau is so nice. It's an incredible feature.
Walking around at Geneva at night was very cool because the Ferris wheel was very beautiful and big lights, and David Little made it really funny. And then the walk was very pretty with the buildings.
Well, once we got to CERN, we got to go in and get an introductory talk about just CERN overall and what it does there.
CERN's amazing. It's a centre for some epic collaboration between engineers, physicists, all kinds of computer scientists, analysis, mathematics, and it's just great to be there.
And then we got taken to the CMS, so the compact muon solenoid aspect of the Large Hadron Collider, at which point we got to go down and look at the lower levels and look at all of the servers and databases that they have down there, and look at how all the access and security and safety protocols they have in action to make sure that it's safe for everyone. When we went underground, it was 100 meters because we went to the second lower level, which is the one which has sort of middle level of the CMS actual structure.
The kids were so happy, and the thing is, I wanted them to see that what they were learning at school is actually used somewhere, and that real scientists, they're not geniuses that nobody can touch, that they're very much like themselves. And some of them are older and some of them are younger, and they're really enthusiastic about what they're doing. And the fact that it's happening in a country that it's away from their own country, and that people use languages, and it's okay not to speak one language but speak another and try to communicate. And the internet started there just to get communication going. So I just think it's such an interesting place to get to know, even if they don't fully understand everything that it's happening in there, but it gives them an aim to go forward and to try to be better at what they're doing. Another really good opportunity we have is that there is a group from Manchester working there, and we were able to meet with some of the PhD students, Ben and Holly, and they were telling our kids about their normal life, like in London as students or in Manchester as students, or when they're doing research. And what it was really funny is that our kids were saying, oh, I didn't know a scientist could be that young. But actually it's true. You can be a scientist as soon as you finish your degree and just start doing stuff that you're really interested in.
So we went to the Palace of Nations in Geneva, and I bombarded the tour guide with lots of questions such as what multilateralism is, or how do states or how do organizations become an observer in the UN or in some assemblies, like for example WHO or WHA. And she explained how sovereign states are defined as sovereign states, and it was a very enjoyable trip there. We eavesdropped a human rights council. It started with, I remember it was Cambodia talking, and it was quite fun to listen to experts speaking on behalf of the countries.
Learn Latin and you can learn lots of languages.
The Saint-Pierre Cathedral in Geneva is a fabulous place. What an amazing building, and the views from the top of the tower are well worth climbing the stairs. The sight over Geneva, looking out over the lake, looking towards the Jura Mountains and the Selève Mountains is just absolutely breathtaking.
Everybody, we're in everyone's favourite city, Geneva, and we found everybody's favourite trig function, the cosine function. Now, interesting fact about the cosine function is that its Taylor expansion is let me have a little think. Yes, sorry, 1 subtract theta squared over 2 factorial plus theta to the 4 over 4 factorial, and you repeat that pattern alternating the sign of the terms, increasing the exponent and the divisor by a factor.
Brilliant.
There were some surprisingly good players playing chess with the massive pieces, which was weird. There was just a group of like older men just sitting watching there as if they do it like every day or every week. Yeah, it's something that you would never see in England because pieces would just get stolen. But they have a better community in Geneva.
It was amazing going out for a Swiss fondue meal with the students, actually, to sit down together in a different country and have a meal together, eating some local cuisine. So some people had the raclette, some people had the fondue, and other people had some other specialities from Switzerland. But it was lovely to be together and spend that evening dining.
I had raclette, and they scraped like melted cheese. They had a special machine to do it, and they gave me cheese with some potatoes in a bag on the tables, and then so everyone would take potatoes and eat it with cheese. And if you want more cheese, they just scrape more off.
But I am also worried about these really intelligent students just being scientists and nothing else, when there are so many decisions that had to be taken in the world and they could use their intelligence. So I think it's really important to go to the United Nations or to the Red Cross and find out how different countries talk to each other.
We went to the Red Cross Museum and it was very illuminating to see all of the injustices in the world and how we still need to improve.
While at the Red Cross, we got to experience recordings of first-hand witnesses of tragedies across the world. This was fantastic because we got to realise the injustices that are still around and can still be seen in day-to-day life. And using this knowledge, it's easier to now act upon such issues around the world.
great at CERN. They've actually got an exhibition to show you a lot of the parts, with videos and descriptions and videos of scientists explaining exactly what happens. So all the very abstract equipment actually starts to make a lot more sense when you can actually see it and hear all about it.
I've seen a giant model of the Large Hadron Collider, and I can see inside the tube, and I understand how it works and what the detector do.
In the museum there was a exhibition explaining the cooling, and that had a little breakdown, so it had a visualization of it, but also then some of the parts sort of laid out actually together so we could see them. But that was from the previous generation, because they have lots of parts left over when they replace it. They also had outside and at the compact muon solenoid an example of the radio acceleration method that they used for one of the very early ones, which they said wasn't very good. Basically, they just hit the particles of the radiation. So they had this big, you could see this big metal orb that they bounced the radio waves, around in, and then the tube at the bottom where it hit the particles.
It was fantastic in Geneva. Really exciting going around CERN, seeing all the physics and computer science and mathematics that goes on at CERN. Really enjoyed going to the Universal Particles exhibition, where they had a model of the World Wide Web. Actually, they had the very first World Wide Web computer in there. This is just fantastic. Get in on that, get in on that. The fundamental design architecture of the web.
The lake cruise is a particular highlight for me. It's just a chance to relax, sit back. You can enjoy looking over at the mountains, the city, the lake, and there's some incredible houses along the side of it. Students really enjoy just relaxing whilst being out on the lake, looking over at Mont Blanc, the highest mountain in Europe, and just enjoying some time together. So that was a really nice moment of the trip.
So an interesting thing to note is that the view of Lake Geneva from Geneva doesn't truly encompass how big Lake Geneva is. So whilst on the cruise, we looked at a map and we realised how much bigger Lake Geneva actually was, which was very interesting. And you know, from the plane, you could see how big it was. But the cruise was very nice.
I enjoy the both, like I enjoy the weather and also the view and building in Geneva.
It was a great trip. Actually, students were amazing. They behaved so well. When we were counting, you think we were taking 35 kids, and every time you're getting in and out of the metro, they were counting themselves. They were being responsible. They were doing everything that we asked them to do. It's such a pleasure. You know, one of the big parts of the CERN trip is not just how much the students enjoy it, but how much it motivates teachers as well, because it's so nice to be with them in an environment that everybody's so happy. So I'm looking forward for that trip happening again.